Okay, Kate, let me know when you think I should start.
Yeah, I think now's a good time, Daisy.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is obviously the last session of what has been a very long morning, and I hope that you managed to get some food, drink, have a wee at some point. My name's Daisy Russell. I work at the Council for Disabled Children, and essentially I do all things education, law and information advice and support services, SENDIASS. So this is a very quick run through of joint commissioning and why people should joint commission their SENDIASS. And then there's a great video from West Sussex who are actually people who do this. So I'm aware that it's often people like me telling people what they should do. So it's probably better to hear from people who have actually done this and how that's worked for them. And Kate's going to show you that after I've been through the slides, and then hopefully we'll have a small amount of time if people want to ask any questions. But I will put my email address in the chat, and people are more than welcome to contact me. In fact, I would love you all to contact me. However, while I might get back to some of you next week, it probably won't be January now, because this is my last workshop of the year, and then I'm going to go and lay under my Christmas tree for a while. Okay, so joint commissioning. Why joint commission? Well, very short time on these slides. Joint commissioning arrangements, Section 26 of the Children and Families Act, and talk about education, health and care provision must be jointly commissioned. And clear that this is education, health and social care. We've been doing loads of work with health on this, and CCGs have been really proactive and brilliant at this. The social care are also a partner in this and should also be very much involved. And Section 26 essentially says that joint commissioning arrangements must include arrangements for considering and agreeing what advice and information is to be provided about education, health and care, by whom, to whom and how. And then Section 32 of the Children and Families Act describes an information advice and support service. So it is this and the Code of Practice, where we get one from, but it's an absolute must that children, young people and parents with SEND or who may have SEN are given advice and information about matters relating to their special educational needs or disability. And matters related is defined as education, health and social care. So essentially they have a right, and children and young people have a right to this separately from their parents, to this information advice and support. And then what it looks like is an information advice and support service. So it has to be a dedicated and easily identifiable service, education, health and social care, must be accessed independently by children and young people, impartial, confidential, arm's length, free and accessible, and based on the law. And I was kind of reflecting this morning when we were listening, all those children and young people who had been admitted and then got a diagnosis after admission. There were lots of comments about education in school and anxiety in school, and we have had loads of that, and children being less anxious not being at school, and education, health and care plans, and how we stop people going up the system when they do not need to. And this is one of the ways that we do that. We make sure that people have access to a service, either post-diagnosis or when things are going wrong at school or noticing something, in a very young child. Actually, going to a service that is going to support you in going through and getting the help and the support that you need then, rather than that happening at 18 at a time of crisis. So, what is in it for health and social care? So, very quickly, this is about parents, children, young people understanding and navigating the health system. Training, so these are services who are very well trained on education and other law. Minimising the risk of litigation and tribunals, which is quite an important thing. One of the really good things has been geographical and demographic mapping data. So what is happening in your area where, the nature of health inquiries, what are people coming to the service about? What services feature heavily, what feedback are parents and children, young people giving on quality, ease of access. We worked with one area and the CCG said it turned out that in this bit of the patch, there's a huge issue with incontinence products. and they just commissioned someone to provide them, and they then went back and said, right, we're not doing that again, and found a different provider. So, you know, stuff like that, stuff with, you know, this CAMS is saying it won't see anyone who's autistic, you know, what's happening here, you know, finding out about what's going on, and feeding into dynamic support registers. So we've been doing some work with NHS England on this and how services support that. We're also keen that when people look at commissioning, that they're doing it across local areas. So obviously in line with CCG boundaries. CCG may want to do, you know, 8 different agreements with 8 different local areas, or it may want to do 1 across all those areas. So we've been doing some work in different places in the country about a shared health resource from the CCG shared across the information advice and support services and what that might look like. And I think that's actually really exciting. But then I would, because I find this quite exciting. What does it look like now? So 2 years ago, we had 1 jointly commissioned service. Now 36% are, with another 20% actively working towards becoming jointly commissioned. We have examples of service level agreements based on the minimum standards. So we have minimum standards for services. We've got an in-house one and an outsourced one, which everyone is welcome to use, and I will happily send whoever wants them copies of them. Obviously, some services are also jointly commissioned under a Section 75 agreement, but there's less of those. I always underplay this bit, but a commissioner told me the other day that I really shouldn't. When talking about why I do it, it's an easy win. We are talking relatively small amounts of money for a very big impact and an excellent look. You know, these are very small services, incredibly important, and you know, joint commissioning and resource that comes with that, and sometimes that will be, and those 36%, that is, they all have some joint funding, but other places are looking, at least in the short term, about other resource that might be possible to provide. So that might be an office space, that might be additional, you know, staff that are, you know, that are already funded that actually might be better off being part of the information advice and support service. Some discussion about Health Watch there. So there are lots of different ways that people are doing it. And this is the slide on that, which I probably should have gone to. And looking at some short-term targeted funding, say for maybe data collection. So Health have said actually it'd be really good to get a picture, better picture of what, you know, how many, you know, children, young people and their parents are coming in with a primary health need. How many times does that become a health need? You know, you go and someone says, you know, I'm not very happy at school, and it turns out that there's a health need there as well. So that kind of data, gathering that to make the case for jointly commissioning. So there's lots of different ways of doing this, because this is new in the, you know, 2014, but actually looking at this and doing this is quite new. So there are no kind of wrong ways of doing it. It's trying to find good ways of doing it, and they may look different in different places. Another why to do it is Ofsted, who are very keen on this and have started noticing. So this is a report that came out in June 2020, that an information advice and support service was under considerable pressure, not fulfilling its core functions, and was not jointly commissioned. So by the time this report came out in June 2020, the service actually was jointly commissioned. So some of this can happen quite quickly under certain circumstances. There is now going to be this brilliant video from West Sussex, who actually are going to talk about their joint commissioning journey, which I hate saying, but it's kind of the only word that works for here. And then we'll come back together and I can answer any, well, some questions that you have, depending on how many you have. Okay, so Kate, let's try and see if we can make the video work. This is, you know, it's a touch and go affair, this. If it doesn't work, we'll put the link in the chat.
Hopefully this time it will be okay.
If you want to quickly grab some popcorn at this point, you know, fine chocolates from the tree, maybe a small Baileys, because it is now 12:40, so I believe that's kind of acceptable. Do you need me to do anything, Kate?
I'm still trying to get it to show up. But Hold on a moment.
Oh, that's a bad picture. That needs to go. Do you want to maybe put the link in the chat, or do you think you can do it?
Oh, there it is. Just it's just loading now. It's very slow for some reason. Can you see my screen, Daisy?
Yes, I can see your screen. I can see the video. See if we can do it with sound. Is the sound not working?
I'm just going to put it into the chat, the link.
Okay, sorry everyone. There's a link in the chat, so go and follow the link and watch the video, which is never ever going to work anytime I try and do it. And then we will come back. The video is about 15 minutes long, so we'll come back at 12. Oh, when should we come back, Kate? So let's say.
Well, we have to finish by 1:10. So
Okay, let's come back at 1 and see where we are. Yeah, that's time. We'll come back at 1. People might have a time for another wee as well. Hello.
Hi, I've just finished watching. That was all.
Excellent. No, good.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else is finishing.
Probably. It's a difficult thing to, because obviously you don't quite know when anyone's going to start and finish it. And obviously it'd be much better if we could just show it.
Yeah.
You know.
Go with the joy of virtual meetings.
I'm so done with them. And I've been very enthusiastic for ages. I know it's great, it's magic, and now I'm a little bit, done with them. So yeah, I mean, I miss people. I miss what I miss. I was just looking where you're from. I used to go to Birmingham a lot because there's always meetings in Birmingham. It's always the middle of the country. I mean, I miss Birmingham.
I miss Birmingham as well. I haven't been to Birmingham for months.
I mean, not just the shops, but
well, it's funny, isn't it? Because even if I do live. Obviously, I live around here, but I haven't walked the streets either. It's very odd.
It is, isn't it? It's just, yeah, I do. I miss Birmingham about this time of year because you can look at the Christmas market and you can do your Christmas shopping and you've had a meeting. It's pretty much, perfect. So yeah, not too much of the mulled wine, but.
You've mentioned alcohol a lot. You have. Are you ready for your Christmas do?
I'm done. Yeah, just when you kind of, you get to the point and you just, I'm pretty much done. And when Kate was like, we're going to record this, and I was like, oh, I just had to try not to swear. That's about all I need to know.
Bless you.
But how is it, everything in Birmingham?
Well, we're in Black Country, so Sandwell and West Birmingham, and how it is that there's currently some change management going on in the CCG, which is I think will be very positive. But obviously, going through change management in itself means that there's a lot of disruption and focus on the change management process rather than on moving forward. So I think COVID's been really interesting, but dare I say useful in highlighting who else in the multi-agency partnership can be useful and can be linked in with. So I think when things have gone well, it's been evident that there's been a lot of multi-agency working and everybody is on the same page. And when things haven't gone so well, it's evident that that's one of the key reasons why it's not gone well. So hopefully we won't forget that, and we will continue to learn, and that relationships and networks that have been developed as a result of the need to continue, and we can break down some of the silo barriers, hopefully, and this being one of them, maybe.
Yes, well, I really hope so. Because Birmingham, obviously, you've got different CCG, and it's somewhere like West Sussex, it's one CCG, they jointly commission, they've got as many children, under 25 as like 5 of the areas in the Tees Valley. So actually, they can just jointly commission it like that. It's more straightforward. But for you, it won't be.
No, it won't. And I think that's the thing. It's like at the end of the video, it said sort of finding the commissioner to talk to. That's going to be the challenge, really, is to work out who is going to recognise the impact the most quickly, or that's not good English, but the quickest, I know you the most. So that it's, because I think that's part of the problem, is you bang a drum for a while and you lose your own motivation for doing it because it's not a drum that's being heard, and then it becomes an annoying noise for everybody, rather than picking a moment and having the right conversation with the right person at the right time.
You're right. It is. It's finding the person that gets it, and sometimes that's really difficult, and sometimes it may not even be there at the moment, and some things you might have to go, we're just going to have to leave this until other stuff changes, and that's it's frustrating, but at least it's realistic, at least you're not, because you're right, otherwise you're just going on, and it just, in the end,
everybody gets tired.
Everyone just gets tired. Hello, Tiffany. Hello, Tiffany, where are you from?
Kent.
My Kent.
Hello.
Yeah.
We are at breakthrough moment with iAsk at the moment, because it has just got our CCG colleagues who are taking a paper to their finance board.
Yes,
the
I
joint
have
finance
heard this.
agreement.
I'm very, very excited, because that would be a brilliant one, you know, because Kent for us, obviously,
Yeah.
biggest number of CY children and people in the country, you know, should be more straightforward, because one CCG, you know, but obviously
Now,
that
yeah.
is not how it, you know, straightforward is not necessarily how things work.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad to hear about it, because it will make such a difference.
I joined commissioning 18 months ago from the SENDIASS service. So I was an operational manager within the SENDIASS service. And this was one of the pieces of work that kind of went, this makes sense for kind of get on and do, and quickly managed to get the education social care joined up. So that happened as of April this year, which was great. And then it kind of left it with highlighting all the bits where health will benefit from it, to help cave that way. And that's been the only way to really carve the way, because they do have their own health services, health advice services that they fund, and it's trying to carve out that this is very different from that, and this can avoid a whole load of other hurt down the way if we can get it right. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if we can get the agreement for the funding, then we can start working on the joint SLA, which I think is probably pretty much there, as long as they're happy with the content, which I don't see why they wouldn't be, and things they might want to tweak a few things. But then hopefully from April we'll be a fully three-way joint commissioned with money from all parties, which would be even better.
It will be brilliant. And I am thinking I might just get some joint commissioning stars or awards or something to give out to people when they manage to do it.
The written statement of action we have has actually, in some respects, really helped. Not that anyone wants a written statement of action, but it's enabled us to set up joint commissioning governance routes now, which we've got in place. So it is kind of pushing some of this through to say, actually, we're joint commissioning this now. We need to make it formalised. So I think that's probably been our biggest saving grace in moving things forward.
I mean,
labour of love.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, we've seen that quite a lot. It would be fair that there's been quite a lot of, suddenly I'll get kind of a, right, yeah, we'll have a meeting and when we need this, and can you send me one of the MSLAs? And it will be yes, because Ofsted have been and they've said, and because, like I said, it's quite an easy win. You know, if you haven't done it, any joint commissioning, this should be quite an easy win.
And actually, you know, it's easy as well. I mean, I've seen the video, the YouTube clip already before, but it was quite interesting because I shared that with the commissioners within health to say, have a look at this, because we could look at it differently and say, what is it that our IR service is lacking, and is there something else we can do? We don't need premises, we don't need any of that, we've already furnished that. But actually, staffing is a problem for them. That's where most of their resource goes, and they might, you know, so even if it comes back that it's not an amount of money that gets, you know, transferred over to the service, it might be that it creates a resource that helps in another way.
Yeah,
so that's the hope.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is the beginning, you know, because I kind of think you jointly commission it, and then actually what hopefully happens is that, well, this has worked really, really well. Let's, you know, but there's this need as well, or with, you know, whatever it is that it kind of continues to develop. You know, and the hardest thing is just the starting it and not being blocked all the time by, we haven't got any money.
Yeah.
You know,
it's quite important, funnily enough.
Daisy, just to let you know, we've got 5 minutes to go.
Okay.
And also just to draw people's attention to the online survey, if you could fill in the evaluation at the end too. Thank you.
There is, I mean, I'm not going to, you know, there is an online survey. People do the online survey, because otherwise Amanda Allard will just probably chase you up for it forever, because she is like that. Does anyone else want to ask any questions or say anything? You can do it in the chat if you don't want to do it on Teams. Forgot what platform it was for a minute, but I'm really happy. My email is in the chat, and I'm really happy to answer any questions, send you stuff, come to meetings. I'm actually far more happy to come to meetings in January. If you invite me to a meeting now, probably I'll be lying down or, you know, dribbling or something. So definitely invite me to stuff, but definitely make it next year. And eventually, hopefully, I'll physically start going and seeing people again, which I can't wait for because I'm bored of all this. So is there anything else people want to ask? If not, do the evaluation form. And how do I access survey? I think that the survey is just above you, Diane, so it's just above you in the chat. So can you see that? So yeah, for everyone else, that's where the survey is. Kate, do we all go back together somehow, or is it kind of after this workshop, that's that?
As far as I understand it, once we've finished here, then we're finished completely.
Well, hey, you can all go. We can all go. It's lunchtime. I mean, you probably can't have the afternoon off, and I'm not in a position to give you the afternoon off. But if I was, I absolutely would. So if you can, try and have an afternoon off. And please do email me and let me know if there's anything else I can do. Okay, lovely to kind of see you all. Have a very, very happy Christmas. Here is my tree, which I intend to just sit with for the rest of the day. Okay, so we'll finish now. Do the survey so that Mandrana doesn't hunt you down, and yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do. Speaking is clearly not going to be a thing I'm going to be able to do for very much longer. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.